Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to get into England's successful qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, quite a journey.
We've got our notes here detailing how they got there. And, with this World Cup being the biggest one, yet 48 teams spread across the US, Canada, and Mexico, understanding how England actually locked down their spot feels pretty important.
It really does. And looking at their prospects, too, it's more than just ticking the qualification box, isn't it? It's seeing how they're building towards a very different kind of tournament.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really, get under the skin of England's path to 2026, pinpoint what worked, the key factors, and maybe, just maybe, hazard a guess at what might happen next.
And there's definitely stuff to talk about. New talent emerging, different tactics under the new manager.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting, too. Okay, so let's dig in. England's road to 2026. How did the qualification actually unfold? What were the key moments?
Well, I think the first thing to note is the timing. Thomas Tuchel took charge right at the start of 2025, January 1st.
Right, new manager straight in.
Exactly. And the qualifiers ran pretty quickly after that, March through to November 2025. And they ended up topping their group, Group K.
Okay, Group K winners. That puts them among the automatic qualifiers from Europe.
That's right. One of the 12 group winners from UEFA, so they joined the other 15 European teams heading to the finals. 16 in total from UEFA.
Sounds straightforward enough topping the group, but who else was in there with them? Was it a challenging group?
Well, they finished COP with 24 points from the 8 games, which is pretty dominant.
Terrific record.
Not quite perfect, but very strong. Serbia were second, quite a way back on 18 points. Then you had Albania on 12, Latvia on 6, and Andorra finished with 0 points.
Okay, so a comfortable margin in the end. Any specific matches that really stood out during that run?
I think those early wins were key for setting the tone. That 2-0 victory over Albania at Wembley, for instance.
Right.
It wasn't just the win. It showed a good mix of attacking threat and defensive organization. And importantly, that match saw Miles Lewis-Skelly score in his debut.
Oh, wow, the teenager.
Yeah. Scoring on your debut in a qualifier, that sends a message, doesn't it? A real sign of the young talent coming through.
Definitely gives the squad a lift. And they followed that up.
They did. A 3-0 win against Latvia came shortly after, which really cemented their attacking strengths early on. It felt like they established control of the group quite quickly.
So Tuchel comes in just before this campaign kicks off. What specific impact are we seeing from him? How did his approach help secure qualifications so, smoothly?
His influence seems pretty central, really. His whole vision is built around having a balanced team, one that can adapt.
Adaptability, okay.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how he seems to have brought in more tactical discipline, more positional awareness, without necessarily, stifling their attacking flair.
That's a tricky balance to strike.
It is. But we saw evidence of it. They controlled possession well in some of the tighter games, managed the tempo, but could also transition quickly and hurt teams on the break. Their attacking strengths were still very much there.
And he brings that top-level experience too, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Winning the Champions League with Chelsea. That kind of experience, understanding how to navigate knockout football, that's gold dust for a tournament like the World Cup. That tactical know-how could be huge.
Yeah, you can't really coach that specific pressure unless you've lived it. It sounds like he brought a tactical edge and maybe a bit of that winning mentality. So looking closer at the qualifiers, what were the real core strengths of this England side? What shone through?
Well, a few things stand out. Firstly, the squad itself. It's a really interesting mix right now.
How so?
You've got your established stars, the experienced players, but blended with these really exciting younger talents like Lewis-Skelly we mentioned. There's genuine depth, particularly in attack. Multiple options, different types of forwards.
Gives the manager options.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the role of the senior players in that mix. Their leadership, mentoring the youngsters, keeping standards high. That's vital behind the scenes and on the pitch.
That blend of youth and experience, when it clicks, it can be incredibly powerful. Tactically, then, what advantages did they seem to rely on?
I'd say their attacking versatility was a big one. They showed they could break down stubborn defenses, teams that sat deep, but also exploit space when opponents were more open.
So they weren't just a one-trick pony.
Not at all. And Tuchel's flexibility helped there. They seemed comfortable switching formations, maybe tweaking roles during a game, which makes them harder to predict and play against.
And physically, any changes there?
There seemed to be, yeah. Reports suggest improvements in conditioning, a more intense pressing game at times. That suggests the work under Tuchel and his staff is paying off in terms of physical output, too.
Right, that physical edge often makes a difference at the very top level. But no campaign is perfect. Even in qualifying smoothly, there must be areas they know they need to work on before the finals.
Oh, definitely. Our notes flagged a couple of things. One area is concentration, particularly during transitions, those moments just after losing the ball or winning it back.
Quick turnovers.
Yeah, top teams punish any lapse there. And then there's the mental side. Historically, England have sometimes struggled with the intense pressure cooker of a major tournament finals. Building that resilience, that ability to cope when things get tough in a knockout game, that's still crucial.
The weight of expectation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe one more specific thing, set pieces. While their open play was good, becoming even more effective from corners and free kicks, both attacking and defending, could be really valuable. Those can decide tight matches.
Absolutely. A goal from a corner can change everything in a knockout game. Okay, let's broaden the view now. Thinking about the World Cup itself, how does this England side stack up against the other big hitters? Starting with the European rivals, say France, Germany, Spain.
It's an interesting comparison. Against those teams, England's tactical flexibility under Tuchel could be a key weapon.
In what way?
Well, take Germany, for example, who can be quite structured. England's ability to shift formations, maybe overload certain areas, use that positional fluidity Tuchel likes, that could potentially cause problems for more rigid systems.
So adaptability as an advantage.
Potentially, yes. And their squad depth looks strong compared to many rivals, too. Managing players through a long, expanded tournament, 39 days this time, that depth will be absolutely vital.
Yeah, that longer schedule is a new factor for everyone, isn't it? How about against the big non-European teams, Argentina, Brazil, the traditional powerhouses?
Against them, England brings, I think, a good balance. They have technical skill, but also a physical presence that perhaps wasn't always there in the past. This squad seems pretty robust.
Right.
And again, maybe the format helps. The expanded tournament means a round of 32 now. Perhaps that slightly different structure suits England's ability to manage a tournament, build momentum gradually. Plus, they've come through tough European qualifiers, faced different styles already. That's good preparation.
So the overall picture seems, well, pretty positive. Smooth qualification, new manager making an impact, good blend of players, tactically flexible. Looking ahead to 2026, what's the initial feeling about their actual chances? Could they, go all the way?
Look, their qualification was impressive, no doubt.
Yeah.
It shows a team that's growing, maturing on the world stage. The changes under Tuchel seem significant. And playing teams like Serbia, Albania, even Latvia and Andorra, it gives you different tests, valuable experience. If they keep refining things, stay fit, and crucially, find that mental steel for the big knockout moments, then yes, they absolutely have a strong opportunity. This World Cup in North America feels like a genuine chance for them.
It really does feel like a potential window. Okay, so let's try and pull this together. England booked their place for the huge 2026 World Cup, doing it pretty comfortably under Thomas Tuchel, whose tactical ideas seem to have made a real difference.
Yeah, that tactical flexibility and adaptability seem key.
And we've talked about their strengths, that exciting mix of youth and experience, the attacking options, maybe improved conditioning, but also noted areas to keep working on, like concentration in transitions, and that big one, mental resilience under pressure.
And set pieces, potentially.
Right, set pieces too. And comparing them to rivals, their depth and tactical approach look like real plus points for the demands of this specific tournament.
Exactly. We've sort of mapped out how they got here, the Tuchel effect, their strengths, and how they might measure up.
Yeah.
Hopefully that gives you a clearer picture of England's position heading towards 2026.
Absolutely. It sets the scene nicely. So maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to ponder. Given everything we've discussed about England's evolution, what single factor do you think will be the most critical decider of their success or failure in 2026? And thinking more broadly, with this bigger format, new tactics emerging everywhere, what kind of surprises might this World Cup throw up? Could be fascinating. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.